This is Reframe, brought to you by Brand South Africa, inspiring new ways. Sanbonani, I'm Hlubi Hadebe, TV and sports presenter, and I'm your host for today. So we are in studio today with Ayavuya Myoli and Mbulelo Slow Poison Transvaal, but he's better known as Slow Poison. These are some legends that we have in the sporting game. We want the listeners at home to know who you are, contextualize why we are in studio today, and what influences you've had on sports.
I'm originally from the Eastern Cape.
Yes.
At Bisho, born and bred at Bisho. And yeah, I'm from a family of 5 of us, 4 siblings, and I'm the last one.
Okay.
And with my mom and dad, yeah, but my dad passed away. So yeah, I grew up at Bisho and grew up with my brother. My brother's 6 years older than me. I think that's a guy that kind of put me into sport because I was always bowling to him, and he loved cricket, but didn't really follow up on his cricket. So then I was privileged enough to go to Dale College.
Okay.
School,
and one thing I know about Dale, sorry to interrupt you, is that they really produce some proper sportsmen. Yeah. It's an infamous school for that.
Very known with rugby.
Yes, rugby. So it only makes sense. Yes.
So yeah, I got there, grade 8, and started playing cricket. And yeah, cricket did well there. And eventually went on and to represent my province border.
Okay.
And yeah, and things from then, cricket. And I went to University of Fort Hare.
Okay.
I got the bursary through Cricket South Africa there. At Black Cricketers Academy there.
Okay.
Through Cricket South Africa and University of Fort Hare, where we were coached by Mfuneko Ngam, I think one of the ex-Proteas guys. And he was, and we went into that program, and we eventually end up making it professionally as a cricket player. That's
actually quite interesting that cricket paved your way for university and furthering your studies, as well as an ex-Protea player being your coach. Which was that a big inspiration for you? Did that push you more to go into cricket? How was that a huge influence?
Yes, man. I think, as a kid, you just dream of wanting to just be there and play it.
Yeah.
And as soon as things start happening, you kind of seeing it. But now the guy that you used to watch it on TV as a kid, now he's the one who's your friend, he's your mentor, he's your brother, and he's your coach. And you kind of see this thing is possible, this thing can happen. So yeah, that University of Fort Hare was good in terms of that. Seeing that and also learning a lot from those guys, in terms of their experience and how much they know the game. So that helped me a lot.
That's good. And so at what age did you realize that your dream was to be a professional cricket player?
I started cricket in grade 8, by the way.
Yes. Oh, wow.
So I started a bit late.
Yes, you did start late.
Yeah, so I was just playing a proper cricket match, but at home I used to just bowl to my brother in the garage. And then I was like, man, I think I can work and this thing can happen. I think it was more. I think I told myself in grade 8 when I moved to Dale that I want to play cricket. Because there was mentors like Makaya and Tieni guys that came from Dale also. So
Makaya and Tieni went to Dale. I've actually met Makaya and Tieni, and he is the loveliest guy. I won't lie, the funniest as well. I just laughed the whole time. But and I had no idea that such a legend would be, so to have those mentors and those influences like that, that's huge.
Yeah, it was very huge. Like having him is the first black cricketer to play for the country. And he comes from the same school that you went to. So you were he was always a guy that you look up to and say, I want to do the same as Makaya, how he did it.
Yeah.
So that was one of our motivation. Mondes Ondeki also was one of the fast bowlers that went to Dale College and made it to play for Proteas. So yeah, it's always been. So when I entered Dale College, when my first time entering those gates, I was like, I want to play cricket. But
Makaya is the one who made it look possible.
Well, yes.
He made it look possible for every black child.
Every black child.
Yes. I just want to know your background in boxing, how you got into it, and a little bit of where you're from, etc.
I'm Mbulelo Transvaal. Then Slow Poison, I got it.
Yes.
It was my boxing style.
Okay.
Yes, because I remember my first professional fight. Then the commentator who would now announce, your names and everything in the ring, he asked for, what's your ring name? And then it was my first pro fight. I did not have it. So I said, just write down Big Head. Yeah, because I didn't even prepare myself for that. So my coach, he said, I don't like this Big Head thing, but let's go and see. So we went into the ring.
Yeah.
My first fight, I knocked this other guy from Limpopo, Then my coach, when I came back, he said, you are slow poison.
Yeah.
Because of the way I crushed my opponent, you understand?
Okay.
So I didn't have that power punch, so I would just box.
Yes.
And suddenly you see a man dropping.
Yes.
Then he called me
Slow poison, because it was just a sudden, like a sudden death.
Slow poison. Then I became slow poison. So whatever that I do, it has become my trademark.
Okay.
Even when I was working in the gym,
Yes,
as a personal trainer, specializing with boxing,
yes,
people know me as slow poison.
okay.
Yeah, so it ended up being cut short, poison. Call me poison. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I started boxing. Like any black young kid growing up in the townships, you get to do everything. You
Yes.
are in soccer, you're doing this, you still haven't found yourself.
Yes.
So soccer was that thing, if you cannot play soccer, you would feel so isolated in an area, in a society that every boy child has to play soccer.
Yes.
If you cannot fit in, trust me, you have a difficult life. Boxing was the sport that even when you go into, we were training in a small room, you sweat, even the trainers, the way people were, they didn't have that. You wouldn't see people laughing.
Yeah.
In a boxing gym. So the atmosphere was always tense.
Intense.
Everything was, first day I went there, the training was so hard. I asked myself, am I going to do this? But when I come back home, it clicks into my head, if I don't pursue, if I don't carry on with this, then what else do I have? Then I went the next day. Then the next day became better than the first day.
Yeah.
So the third day, so I settled in. Then what I found different about boxing from ezinye sport is soccer. It has to be a God-given talent.
Yeah.
Soccer, for you to make it in soccer, for sure you'd agree with me, bruh.
Okay.
Or is soccer, you have to have it. In
Yes.
boxing, you can be taught to
be good at it.
Yes, you come not knowing how to put in the gloves. You come not knowing how to throw a punch.
Yes.
Okay, we look at fighting in the street as natural,
Yes.
but then boxing is an art that you have to be taught,
Yes.
and they can teach you.
Yeah.
I was taught. I fought as an amateur. I could see myself developing.
I am aware that you have the Slow Poison boxing gym,
Yeah.
and how has that really helped in terms of you bringing the community together, or you contributing via sports to the community?
It's still in my wishes
Yeah.
that, at some stage, we were training kids at Red Hill High School.
Yeah.
When I looked at that, we are facilitating with this boxing with kids that have almost everything.
Yeah.
They almost, so I felt like this is somehow not fair.
Yeah.
Because I live in a township, I work here in the suburbs. So I'm always so vigilant, looking out at the private schools. These kids, they have everything. I'm always thinking in the township, they have nothing. There is a facility being built,
Yes.
but there are no facilitators
Yes.
of such things. Then I always had been wishing to take this and go to the township schools to teach boxing, not for them to, sometimes kids can just use it ruthlessly. They can fight and all
Yeah.
that. You just want them to give them some bit of a self-defense base.
Yes. I also think what you're doing is, I know that the role that certain spaces with sports and boxing gyms and have played for kids, especially in the township, is to get away from certain realities that they are facing every
They are
day.
facing.
And what I love about that is that that is a contribution to our youth, and that's a contribution to kind of, empowering kids,
empowering,
giving
speaking
them
of-
something to be passionate about.
And speaking of empowering,
Yes.
if you there are some women the ladies, that you can see that she doesn't have that internal belief that I can do it.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So you empowering, you want to get the beast out of a person.
Yes, yes.
You want to show the person that it may be a male-dominated sport, but it is not made for men.
Yes.
It is male-dominated. But if you look into the gyms, you find in a boxing gym, in a boxing class,
Yes.
say of 30 people,
Yes.
you'd find 28 ladies,
Okay.
2 men.
Okay.
Yes, it's a male-dominated as a sport.
Yes.
But as a fitness tool, it's the
women.
sisters who loves it the most.
Yes.
Yeah, it's women who love it the most.
Exactly.
Having the belief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that belief is like something that's lacking in so many of us, I think. And once you can harness that and you can get that really does contribute to your performance in other parts of your life.
In many things in life, confidence
Is everything.
confidence is everything.
Is everything.
Because you can just be beaten by lack of confidence.
Yes.
If you're going on a job interview, you hide your head. You don't come out.
Yes.
Because you're lacking confidence.
And on that note of confidence, honestly, one thing that I'm aware of is that you're now in coaching. And what do you think that, I mean, you can expand more and tell us where exactly you coach and what kind of coaching you do. What do you think that does for your players or the people you coach's confidence?
So yeah, I think in terms of as what I've learned in terms of now, it's my first year in coaching.
Yeah.
I finished playing last year in
Yes.
March. As a player, like you just take care of your own space.
Yes.
You just take care of your own space in terms of like you just rock up and you know what you have to do. You go to the net, so you bowl the ball. Okay, I'm feeling fine.
You don't even
then
write
you
it
go
down.
to your car.
It's here.
You say it's here.
Yes.
in your head,
Yes.
yeah.
So
yes.
then you go to your car and then you drive home.
Yeah.
Like as a coach, there's a lot of stuff that I've learned. Like you have to be the first guy to arrive there.
Yes.
Like I've got players in my team that are older than me, some of them, and some of them are same age as me. But I'm the father of the team. I can be aggressive, but as a coach, what I've learned is I have to listen. I have to watch my anger. I have to.
It's
I have
different
to
from
think
when you were a
twice
player.
as a
It's
player,
different
yeah.
from when you were a player.
So those things like that. So it's also in terms of also you meet different people from different backgrounds. You've got some privileged guys that are not privileged. So you have to understand in terms of like your players, where they're from and how you approach things and how you talk to them. And also motivational wise, I think how you talk to the guys is very important.
Yeah.
And you should always try to, some guys, sometimes you have to be harsh, sometimes you have to play a bad cop, and sometimes you have to play good cop. But in terms of, you make sure that you're building a person inside and you're making him, I feel like if players are free, that's when they can perform the best. So if a guy is getting there, he's scared of the coach, he's not free.
You are seeing the game from a different avenue now.
Yeah.
From when you were a player.
So,
You know, how does it feel to be able to identify, especially because you're both coaches, be able to identify something and you're like, if you just did something like this, you'd be like the greatest, or you'd be like, but the person maybe isn't really getting it, you know? And you've got to find ways of, then your teaching and people skills has to come in. Like find different ways to get them to get to that point. How does that feel?
So I'd say the first thing that you have to I always tell my players is that if you want it, it's all dependent on you, how much you work, the work that you put in.
Yes.
And also as a coach, you go through different things. Like you have to I played, then I also did my levels and those kind of things.
Yes.
So the skill, it's mental, and there's also a skill side of it.
Yes.
In terms of as a coach, you have to be able to see when the guy is doing something wrong, and then you work on them. Maybe his left is in terms of bowling.
Yes.
His left arm is a bit lazy. He's not picking up. He's not using his whole body. So those kind of drills you instill in a kid, and you can say, okay, he's struggling with this thing. So I'm gonna make him do a drill. Maybe he can hold a band before he starts playing, and then to warm that left arm up, stuff like that. And then you make sure, I want you to do this thing every day. Then eventually the guy is consistent doing that thing. He ends up being able to do it. So you have to play with it. And also, I feel like sports is all about building.
Yes.
It's about building characters. It's all about building
Characters,
people.
yeah.
And as a coach, you have to make sure that your players are comfortable around you and
Yes.
that they can believe and say, yeah, and be free. That's the most important
Yes.
thing. You can't get into a team and you're scared to fail.
Yes.
When the players come in, they should know that if I win, if I lose, but I gave my all, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm happy as a coach.
Yeah.
If you gave your all and you didn't do well, that's fine. Then having someone who would come in and pull out and stuff like that, and say,
Yes.
"No, I'm scared," or he doesn't do the thing. Those are the guys that I'll be hard on.
Yeah.
So it's just fearless and free.
And I spoke about sports is about building. That is such a pertinent and important point, because that is the whole point of this conversation. It's the crux of this conversation. How sport has contributed to our patriotism in this country, and how it's formed social cohesion, like a social togetherness on a local level and on a national and on an international level, right? And so it's just perfect that you spoke about how sports can even build you on a personal level. But I want us to chat about how sports has built patriotism within us. And for the listeners at home, before we go further, I just want to explain what patriotism is, because, you know, we can speak about these big terms, but people don't actually understand what we're saying, right? Patriotism is having like a pride for your country. It's having a pride for something you do. You can be patriotic about your country. You can be patriotic about the club that you play for. Whatever you're doing, it's having an undying love and support. And almost like you feel like, you know, it's a duty. But what does that patriotism in sports, especially in cricket, what does that mean for you, Aya?
Yeah. There's as you're saying that, there's one of my mentors that told me one thing when I was, I think I just finished matric and I was about to enter the journey of wanting to play professional cricket. So he said to me, Mr. Hayes, is like, you respect the game of cricket and the game will give back to you. And and if you respect the game, it will give back to you. And if you don't respect the game, it gets tough sometimes.
Yes.
So in terms of sports has built men, has built families, has done all of those things, building homes, building families, has made you meet people that you thought you never meet, not just in cricket, in terms of business and a lot of things. And also with our history as South Africa, with apartheid that happened in 1994 when you got our freedom. So it united people. So that's the power of sport. And Nelson Mandela said that sport has got the power to unite a nation.
Oh,
yes.
It really does. It does make you forget. It does make you postpone whatever issues, our political issues.
I saw a meme about how proud, what a time it is to be South African. But for me, it's like, this is over history. Like, it's not just a time, like just our story coming from apartheid, but having the people like South Africans have really played a huge role and put South Africa on the map on an international scale. And I'm going to speak about all races of sportsmen. So I'm talking about Zolabad, from Zolabad to Penny Haynes to, you know, loads. Like, we have really come and shown up and made our country proud.
And we still are doing that, if you notice.
Yes.
Which is why sport is able to bring us together.
Exactly.
Because at the moment when we are watching an athlete who goes out there, we put aside our differences.
Yes.
That whatever ethnic group you are, we're not there.
We will back
you.
you.
Just seeing in South African. By the time you are seeing in South African, the continent sees an African.
Yes.
So we tend to own that individual. We tend to own that group. So sport does play that role in the society.
And that's why I think the rest of the world, or maybe the rest of Africa, says that as South Africans, we think that we're the Americans of Africa. Because Americans have this patriotism and this pride. Like, I love how they say, don't come after South African on social media. Like, don't you dare. Like, don't you dare insult anyone. Because the rest of the South Africans, They don't care. They will rally behind that person. And they will make sure they obliterate you by responses. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's that kind of ubuntu, I think, that has been encouraged, you know?
On a boxing side, boxing in South Africa, most cases it was a sport mostly accessible to the poor guys from the poor backgrounds.
Yes.
So it does have that element of poverty next to it.
Yes.
You understand? It's a poor man's sport.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a poor man's sport. So when in a sporting game, you're pursuing your career, you are a professional, you earn per fight that you fought.
Yes.
So you get that purse, you know. So you're trying to make a living. So you're trying to help at home with that.
Yes.
Then when the sport seems to be, you know, like losing its momentum a bit, so we have found ways that we have ended up in the gyms.
Yes.
I got into a fitness gym, big gym, just by the mere fact that I was a boxer. So I was facilitating with boxing.
Yes.
I used to take young boys from Diepsloot. I stayed at Diepsloot at that time. I used to take them to fight in Soweto because our amateur fights were there.
Yes.
So I would help. I would be a trainer. I would be a coach in the corner. I was still young. These young chaps that I used to take them to fight, they became pros.
Yes.
Some went to MMA as well. But you know what happened? Most of them owned their own boxing gyms, even before me.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them owned their own boxing gyms. They got the jobs in the fitness industries. They became personal trainers.
Yes.
So they could make a living out of a sport of a boxing, not by fighting this time, but facilitating with boxing. So most of them, they have their boxing gyms, even before I had my own gym.
Boxing gym.
You understand?
Yeah.
So that is, I saw that as something good that I know how much they've changed, you know, at homes, you know, how they've built themselves up, how they've helped, you know. So it has done something, for some families.
You, Aya, obviously, in terms of your achievements, I'd like to know how they, because obviously I'd like to know how you think they have brought social cohesion, number one. But number two is how you think they'll inspire the future and how you are contributing towards the future of sports, and not just sports, cricket, but towards the future of young women and men, because I'm not going to limit cricket to men.
Yeah, I think it starts at an early age. Yeah. When you start playing sport, it started even in like high school. I would on a Friday. I know I'm back at home. I'm at Bisho, and my friends are playing soccer. And that time, that age, guys are starting to notice stuff. And I'll just take a ball, and I'll go to the nearest school, at Bisho Primary School, and I'll just be alone there and throw a ball.
Yes.
And then you do that for a certain time, and then you start seeing people are coming in, wanting to learn the sports, kids coming in, wanting to learn the sports. Then there will be a dad coming there like, oh, I used to coach cricket at a certain age. I've got this thing at home and stuff like that. So people came in, guys came in, kids came in and started leaving the bad stuff and playing sports. And also as you grow in terms of like the game, the more you go into the game, the more you meet people, the more you network with people.
You network, and it broadens your mind.
It broadens your mind.
You by the time you come back to the community, you're not the same person anymore. You can bring them stuff that they need. You understand? Bring them hope.
So you become like a leader in terms of that. There's certain places you cannot be seen because they know. But we see him on TV sometimes, or we see him on the newspapers. You can't act in a certain way. So you're a leader to the kids. And also the other thing I've just recently been doing now with I partnered up with McDonald's. So there's a home in Alex, where we hire Alex. We in terms of just the game and the people that were around me. And I remember the day I was waiting. I think I was waiting for someone to come pick me up. So I'm chilling. We just said our team was sponsored by McDonald's. And the guy comes to me, like the general manager, is like, what do you do outside of cricket? I don't know, after Myoli's project, the stuff that I do for Myoli's project, and kids come, I go to kids, I go give them whatever I want to give. It's like, oh, are you on the, I think it was June 16. I think it was in 2 weeks' time or a week's time. This guy comes to me, like, if you want to do something for June 16, McDonald's will sponsor you, everything. We'll fit. I'm like, how many kids are there? I'm like, it's over 100 kids or 80 kids there. He's like, yeah, we'll fit all those kids. Let's do something like that.
Yeah.
So in terms of those things, like how much opportunities that and how much sport will give you this thing, this talent, and also if you take that talent and use it, you can change people's lives.
Yeah.
You can feed families with it. You can
inspire. You put a little,
with
somebody else on.
Yeah.
You put a little, somebody else on.
With just those things. So there's sports is not just a game where it's a win or lose. I think it empowers people. It gives hope to people. It's built a lot of families, and it's taking a lot of guys that were out of crime, out of.
It's a positive influence.
It's a positive influence.
Yes, yeah. It saved many people, right, from the wrong things. Another thing I would love to talk about is the fact that what's so inspiring actually is that, of course, I'm sitting in a room with legends here, but for me, being in my career and being around these sports people, you know, some people that go crazy over like Siya Kolisi, for instance, and then you do an interview with him, you know. What you guys do for us is make our dreams feel like they are in our reach. Right? And my profession might not be a sports player, but I'm in the sports world. And so you're not only inspiring kids who want to play sports or people who want to be in sports, but you're inspiring people in corporate. You're inspiring me who's in media and entertainment to that my dreams are in my reach. And I think that you guys maybe don't realize that, but because maybe your careers now, you've retired and you are now doing other things, you know what I'm saying? But I just want you to know that that's what you do on a daily, every day. And we respect you so much and we thank you so much for that. And do you feel like, you mentioned breaking the norms, do you feel like that's what gives us an advantage as South Africans, that breaking the norms has been a useful tool for us to continue to foster patriotism and national unity in our country?
We really do, and we continue to break the norms. Seriously, we continue. Have you seen this lady who just won the Grammys?
Yes, Tyler.
You
make me sweat.
You know, South Africans, we don't mind. You put us there, we just do our
And she was
thing.
so South African about accepting speech. She gets up there, she goes, what the heck?
What the heck? And when I say, yo.
All the things that make you proud to be South African.
You are South African.
Yes.
Yeah, you there's something that you're going to carry.
What builds and why we are such a patriotic nation, and what builds our social cohesion and our national unity and Ubuntu, the spirit of Ubuntu in our country, is us breaking the norms, but also our culture and our rich history in sport, but our rich history just in general. This is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Also, what else is making us and putting us on the platform, and what else is making us inspire the future of sports in this country is because our athletes, and what I love to see is that you're directly giving back into the community via your sports, via your talent, you know? And that's a trend that I've continuously seen, because you're not the first that I've heard that's gone back into coaching or gone back into this or done this to play your part as a South African. I think it's what sports does is that it allows not only us as spectators, but you guys as players to come together and to unify and play our part in whatever way we can play our part to continue the spirit of what it is to truly be a South African. And that comes with a lot of energy, a lot of joy, a lot of passion, and a lot of like culture.
And the purpose, because
Yes.
if you retire and say, I'm not playing anymore, then you go and sit, you've lost the purpose. But
Yes.
if you retire from playing and be a coach, that means you're still alive. You still have a purpose that you are serving and pursuing. Because you are not totally out of the sport.
Yes.
You are just in a different form, but
Yes.
within the same sport. Because now from fighting, I'm coaching, but I'm still in the sport.
Yes.
You understand? So I'm
Yes.
still contributing even more.
I think that we've really delved into the topic and we've really spoken about what it means to build South Africans, what it means to build South African unity and social cohesion through sports. And so I just want you guys words of encouragement and advice to the youth or the future of sports in South Africa. Just a few words on what you have to say to us, because we are constantly eager to learn. We want to learn more, and we want to always remember the importance of national unity and coming together.
South Africa has got a very rich sports and arts and culture. It starts even way before when in the 60s, in the 50s, like your likes of Omere Makeba, they were denied they couldn't get into their country, and they let to live and go sing and travel the world and singing, and people were so amazed. Who's this person? What's he singing? And those people were fighting for the country in using their talent in terms of sports. Even there were also other sportsmen in those days that they could not come back to South Africa, and they were fighting for the country. So they were fighting for the country in their sports or in their music.
Yes.
So sports, and it's played a big part in this country. Like it's changed a lot of people. It's united people. It's united tribes. It's united like in terms of we live in a rainbow nation.
Yeah.
How many tribes? How many official languages do we have?
It also brings awareness. Yes.
You go to Durban. I remember when I was still young, I used to come to Joburg. My sisters were here.
Yes.
And I get the guy speaking Tswane. I'm 10, 11 years old. I don't understand Tswane, but we'll be playing together, me and him, and we end up being friends. So those are the barriers that sports can break in terms of even.
Yeah. That's true in a sense that we are developing, we are moving forward. Whatever that our past has cost us, we are moving forward. And how we're moving forward, we are moving forward together within a different attitude.
Yes.
You understand? We are not who we were. We are becoming a different person. I think also if given a chance, we can do more with sport. So, because sometimes there are some like that happening just spontaneous.
Yeah.
You just want sometimes a change that we are doing in an aim to make a change.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
For example, it is like I say, it's my wish to go to the townships and facilitate with sports. But now at the same time, using sport would be just to put my one foot first, but I would wish to teach them, apart from sport, that you have to use your youth, engage in something.
Yes.
Because if you are not engaged in something, you definitely find something of which it wouldn't contribute positively in your life. Sometimes you want to use your experiences as an adult, come back to them and say, what I've seen out there is that if you are not educated for too long in this country, chances are you fall into poverty somehow.
Yes.
So I always wanted to go back to those kids and say to them that this country, for too long, it had high returns to education.
Yeah.
If you were educated in this country, you always had high chances of getting a good job.
Yes.
It comes with a good salary. It changes you and it changes the family. But then now, when kids, you find that they cannot even pick up a book and read.
Yes.
If you open a radio playing a music, they would dance like, you know, you just want to bring a different knowledge to them to say education is a tool within which you can develop yourself.
Yes.
You know, you understand. Even Nelson Mandela, they have said it, but we just need to emphasize it more and more. That you have to. There's a line. There's this river of poverty.
Yes.
You're not educated, you fall this side.
Yes.
If you've developed yourself, you've made yourself, chances are you can end up on this side. So just always fight hard. They are clueless.
Yes.
Trust me, I've lived in the township most of my life. I know how clueless I was. In boxing, I was never a champion. But if I had the mentality and the mindset that I have now, I could have been a champion. Because I had the potential. But I just never put anything. I just didn't put a lot.
Yes.
Me, I could go and fight having trained.
Yes.
I fought with top guys. Yes, I drew with some. If I lose, I would lose on points, not a knockout. I never put the energy that they were putting.
Yes.
So I wish to go back to these kids and say, better use your youth.
And the conclusion we can make is that sports plays a huge social reform in our country in terms of coming together and bringing the country together, but not just that, on so many levels. Right.
So many levels.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, I think we can come to a close because we've really dealt and dived into this discussion. Thank you so much for coming through. Thank you so much for the impact that you guys have on sports. It's amazing.
The more conversations we have, the more things we open up.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
And let's keep fostering even the conversation in our personal spaces, in small spaces. Let's keep pushing the conversations. Let's play our part. This is Reframe, brought to you by Brand South Africa, inspiring new ways.